Hello everyone, I'm Alicia. In my last tutorial I showed you how to make these mystical beaded rings. So for this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the matching mystical bracelet. So this is my ring design that I showed you how to make in my last video, and now I'm going to show you my matching bracelet that I designed to go along with the ring. So here's the bracelets, and basically this bracelet is this same pattern repeating over and over. And this is what it looks like close up. So now I'm going to show you the matching bracelet to this ring. To get a different look, instead of using all one color 8-0 seed beads, I did two different colors of 8-0 seed beads. So in this bracelet, I have a dark purple opaque seed beads going on the pearls, but in between, instead of doing the same color, I changed the color and I got a different look just by changing the color of the 8-0 seed beads. So this is the matching bracelet to this ring, and the matching ring to this bracelet is right here. So now I'm going to show you how to make the matching bracelet to this ring. Here is the list of materials you will need to make one bracelet. You will need 9 feet of either 8-pound or 10-pound fireline. Now I know that 9 feet sounds like a lot of thread to work with, but it's not going to be that bad because of how I'm weaving it. So it's not going to be really hard to do it. You're also going to need 2 beading needles, and you can use either a size 10 or 12 beading needle. You will need 1 clasp of your choice, whatever you want to use. And you will also need either 2 split rings or jump rings. I'm using split rings because they are stronger. You will also need 8-0 seed beads. You can do 1 or 2 colors. This one I did 2, this one I did 1. You will also need 11-0 seed beads and 24 6mm beads. And you can use different shapes for this 6mm bead, just like I did in the rings. So you can use rounds, bicones, or Czech fire polish beads. You're also going to need 31 to 37 4mm beads. Now, just like in the ring, I'm saying 31 to 37 because if you don't have montees, you will need 37 4mm beads. But if you do have montees, then you will only need 31 4mm beads. And these beads, the 4mm, can be different shapes. You could do bicones, which is what I like to use mostly on the rings and the bracelets, or you can use like round pearls, even a 6-0 seed beads, those should work, and also Czech fire polish beads. You will also need 6 montees, and my montees are 5mm. If you don't have 5mm, you can use 4mm beads, but if you have 4mm or 6mm montees, go ahead and try those and see if they work. I don't have that size, but if I did, I would tell you if they worked or not, but I don't know. And remember, I will leave a material list for this bracelet in the description bar below this video, and I will also leave a link back to the ring in case you haven't made that yet. So check out underneath the video in the description bar. There you'll see all the materials you will need to make this bracelet. I went ahead and I threaded my needles, and I pulled a large amount of my tail through my needles. So I did like 1.5 feet. So there you can see that's the end of my tail. So this is how much thread here that I have to work with, and then once I get closer to the ends of my tails, I have to slide my needles down. So doing it that way makes it a lot easier to work with a lot of thread at one time. So I'm going to start by picking up the end of my clasp. Okay, one end of my clasp. Since I'm using split rings, I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to pick up 6 11-0 seed beads. So there's 6. Go ahead and slide those down, and then I'm going to pick up a 4mm bead. Pull it down, and I'm going to cross through it with my other needle. I'm going to put my needles together, just like this, and I'm going to bring this bead down. And make sure that your thread is even on both sides so we don't run out of thread at the end and have to take the bracelet apart. So pulling this down, I'm now in the very center of my thread. So now I'm ready to add more beads. So I'm going to separate my needles, and on each needle I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads. Just like this. Slide that down, and then I'm going to pick up 2 8/0 seed beads, slide it down, and then I'm going to cross through them. And then bring them down. So now we have this. Now I'm going to pick up 1 8/0 seed bead on each needle and 1 11/0 seed bead on each needle. Slide that down. And then I'm going to pick up a 6mm bead and cross through it. And bring this down. So this is what we have. Very simple. Pull it tight. Now I'm going to pick up 1 11/0 seed bead on each needle and 1 6mm bead on each needle. Slide that down, and 1 11/0 seed bead each needle. So 11/0, 6/0, 11/0 each needle. Then I'm going to pick up another 6mm bead and I'm going to cross through it. Bring it down. Sorry if I get out of camera view, but you're not really missing anything. So this is what it should look like. Pull it tight. Okay. Now I'm going to take my needles again, and I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads, 2 11/0s on each needle. Slide that down, and now I'm going to pick up a montee. And you have to pay attention to how you're picking it up so it lays right. So my clasp is facing towards me, so I'm going to take and go through the montee like this. So I'm going to have the top facing up because I need it to lay up, and I'm going to cross through it just like this. Okay, so when I bring it down, and pull it tight, it lays face up on top of my beads. Now I'm going to take one needle, pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, and go through this 6mm bead at the bottom, this one right here. So pull that thread through. Now I'm going to take the needle I just worked with and put it in this side of my mat, because I'm swapping needles now, and I'm going to take this needle, and I'm right-handed, so I'm going to pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, slide that down, and now I have to take this needle in the opposite direction that I just took, my right needle. So pulling this through, and there we go. We now have our montee on the top. And what I like to do is push the montee down, because it kind of goes down inside of the 6mm beads, and I squeeze this here so the seed beads pop out in the corners. Pull it nice and tight, and make sure your montee is flat down inside of your seed beads. Okay, so now I'm going to take one of my needles. I'm going to do this to both sides. Well, I'm going to take a needle, and I'm going to go through this 11/0 seed bead in the corner, so not the ones in the top, but the one in the corner, and I'm also going to go through the 6mm bead. I'm positioning my needle so I can pick up more beads. So pull that through, just like that, and now I'm going to pick up 1 11/0 seed bead and 6 8/0 seed beads, and 1 11/0, just like this. Now I'm going to take and go through the 6mm. I'm not going through that 11/0, just this 6mm, and then I'm going to go through this 11/0 here at the top. So through this 6mm and through this 11/0 and pull it through. My thread's stuck. Okay, so now you can see we have a loop just around these 6mm bead right here. We don't want to have that 11/0 C bead in the corner connected in this loop, and we don't want this one connected in it either. So it's perfect, just the way we want it. So I'm exiting out of this 11/0 C bead, and now I have to go through here and reposition my thread so I could pick up more beads after I do the other side. So this thread is exiting on my left side now, so I'm just going to put this needle over here, and I'm going to take my other needle, and I have to do the same thing to this side. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to use my right hand. I'm going to take this needle and go through the C bead and the 6mm bead, just like I did on the other side. So it's coming out of this 6mm. I'm going through this one and through this one. So pull it through. And now I have to pick up one 11/0 C bead, 4 8/0 C beads, and one 11/0. Just like this. And now I'm going to pass through the 6mm bead and through the 11/0 right here. Pull the needle through. And again, we should have one loop going around this 6mm bead. Just one. We don't want these other C beads connected into it. Now I'm going to take and go through this bead and pull it through. So now both of my threads are exiting out of that 6mm bead. And the sides here are a little loose, so I'm just going to push them in and pull this tight. So straighten out the beads, make them kind of round, and pull your thread tight. Okay, it looks good. Now I'm going to take each needle and pick up one 11/0 C bead and slide that down, and then I'm going to pick up one 8/0 C bead on each needle and slide that down. Now I'm going to pick up two 8/0 C beads and cross through them. So one 11/0 on each side and one 8/0 on each side, and now I'm crossing through two 8/0s. So we have a total of 4 8/0s. So bring this down, and this is what it looks like. So we just completed one here, and now I have to do this middle part. So I'm going to straighten out my threads. Okay. Now I'm going to pick up two 11/0 C beads on each needle. Slide that down. I'm going to pick up one 4mm bead and cross through it. Bring it down. And pull your strings tight. Okay. Now I'm going to pick up two 11/0 C beads, each needle, slide that down, and two 8/0s, and I'm going to cross through them. Now we have this. I'm going to show you how to make this part one more time, just so those of you that are newer to beading can really understand what I'm doing. So I'm exiting out of these two 8/0 C beads, and what I'm going to do next is pick up one 8/0 C bead on each needle and one 11/0 C bead on each needle and slide that down. Okay, 8/0, 8/0, 11/0, 11/0. Now I'm going to pick up a 6mm bead and cross through it. Bring it on down. So now we have this. Okay, pull it tight. Now I'm going to take each needle and pick up one 11 seed bead and one 6mm bead, each needle, 111, one 6mm, and 111 each needle, and slide that down. I'm going to pick up a 6mm, bring that down, and cross through it. So bring all of this down until we have this. Now I'm going to take my needles and pick up two 11 seed beads on each needle, slide that down, and a monte. And again, I have to pick the monte up so it lays correctly. So I need to cross through it just like this so it lays flat on top of my 6mm beads. So I have to pull this down just like this, pull it tight. Okay, now I'm going to take one needle, pick up two 11 seed beads, slide that down. Oops, wrong side. I'm exiting out of this side of the monte, so I have to go through this side of my bead. That folds over. I'm going to stick my needle in the mat, and I'm going to go to this needle. So I have to pick up two 11 seed beads on this one, slide that down, and then I'm going to pass through the 6mm bead. Be careful not to go through any seed beads when doing this, just the 6mm bead. Pull that through, and now we have a needle again on each side. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Now I'm going to push the monte down in the center, squeeze this, and pull it tight. Okay, you need it nice and tight. Okay, now I'm going to take one of my needles and I'm going to pass through this 11 seed bead in the corner and through the 6mm bead. Pull that through, pick up one 11 seed bead and four 8 seed beads and one 11. Now I'm going to go through this 6mm bead and through the 11 that's in the corner. So again, we have this nice loop around the 6mm bead, and we're not attached to the 11 on the corners. So now I'm going to take my needle and go through this 6mm and pull it through. So now I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to put this needle that I just worked with on that side of my mat, and now I'm going to take this one and do the same thing. I have to reposition it, so I'm going to take the needle and go through the 11 seed bead on the corner right here and through the 6mm bead. Pull it through. Okay. Now I'm exiting right there. It looks just like this. Now I have to pick up one 11 seed bead and four 8 seed beads and one 11. Okay. So I'm exiting out of here, and I have to go back around and go into a circle, make a loop. So I'm going to go through the 6mm and out the 11. And now I have to take my needle and pass through this 6mm bead at the top. Pull through. Now we have this. So now I'm going to pull these threads tight and make sure everything is sitting right. Okay. Now both of them are exiting out of the 6mm bead, and what I have to do now is pick up an 11 seed bead on each needle and 1 8 on each needle. Slide that down, pick up 2 8s and cross through them. Bring it down. So now we have the top there completed. Again, pull it tight so it's not loose. I'm going to pick up two 11 seed beads on each needle. Slide them down. Now I'm going to pick up a 4mm crystal and cross through it. Bring it down. So now we have this. Okay. Now I'm going to pick up 2 11/0 beads on each needle. And slide that down. Okay. And now I have to pick up 2 8s. Slide it down just a little bit and cross through it. So there we go. We are now in position to make another one of these. So keep going, repeating these steps until you have 6 of these in your bracelet and you have this little part with the seed beads and the bicone in between. Keep going until you have 6 of them made, and once you get to the end, I'll show you how to fill in the sides of our bracelet to make it look more extravagant. So I finished doing all 6 of them, and between each of them I have my 11/0 beads and my bicones. And now I'm down here and I'm going to show you how to finish this end. So we need this end to look like this end. So what I'm going to do is pick up 2 11 beads on each needle and slide that down, and a 4mm bead, and I'm going to cross through it. Bring it down. Okay, that's what it looks like. Now I'm going to pick up 6 11/0 beads, 5 and 6. Okay, so there's 6 of them, and the rest of my clasp. Okay, now I'm going to slide this down, and I'm going to take my other needle and I'm going to go through all of this, through the clasp and through the 6/0s, or not the 6/0s, the 11/0 beads, excuse me. So go ahead and pull both of these needles and bring all of this down to your bracelet. And this is what it should look like. Okay? So right now at this point we are ready to fill in the sides of our bracelet. So I turned my bracelet around, so this is where we first started, and now I'm going to work in this direction, so from where I just added this clasp. So right here is where we're at, and what I'm going to do is work one side at a time. I'm going to pick up 1 8/0 bead, and I'm going to go through this 1 11/0 bead right here. Pull it through. Okay. And now I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. 1 8/0 bead. And I'm going to go through this first 11/0 bead. And I'm doing this just to tighten up this side of my bracelet up. So I'm going to pull both of my threads now at the same time. Okay? Now this is all tightened up. Okay, now I'm going to work with one thread at a time. Okay, so right here I am. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to pick up 2 8/0 beads and 1 11/0 bead. So just like this. I'm exiting out of this, I'm skipping over these 2 beads, and I'm going to go through this 8/0 bead and through these ones right here. Now if I can, I'll try to go through that 4th one, but sometimes I can't. Okay, I got through it this time. Okay, so I'm going to go through there and pull my thread tight. So now it looks like this. So now I'm going to put this needle on the left side of my mat, and I'm going to take my other needle. Again, I'm going to pick up 2 8/0 beads and 1 11/0 bead. Okay? So right here I am, exiting out of this seed bead. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go through all 4 of these 8/0 beads and through this one we added on this side. Pull my needle through, and now we have this. So I'm going to go back to this needle, and I need to get my needle to exit out of this 1/11 seed bead, just like it is on the other side. So going through this one right here. Okay, so now both of our threads are exiting out of each side. So I'm going to sit this down and tighten this baby up. Pull each side really tight. Okay, so now on the ring and the bracelet, here if you look, we have 5 seed beads right here, and it's shaped like a arrow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each corner needs to be like that. So I already picked up my 4th seed bead for this corner. So I'm not going to pick another one up. And this is a mistake I kept making, and I had to go back and take the bracelet apart. But good thing I didn't tie knots. So exiting out of this bead, my 4th seed bead in this corner, I have to pick up 1 bicone and an 11/0 seed bead. And now I'm going to fill in this gap. So I'm going to go through all of these 8/0 seed beads. And now we have this. So looking here, we have 5 seed beads, counting this one here in the corner. So 2, 3, 4, 5. So now, if I want, I can keep going on this side and do some more work, or I can go back to this side. But I think I'm going to do more work on this side. So exiting out of here, I have these 3 11/0 seed beads, so that means I need 2 more. So I'm going to pick up 1 11/0 seed bead, a bicone, and a 11/0, and I'm going to fill in this space. So I have to take my needle, go through this 8/0 seed bead right here, and through all 4 of these. So all 4 of them, and exit out this side. Okay. I would say the most confusing thing about this bracelet is making sure that you have those 5 seed beads in the corners. So I'm exiting out of this one, and I'm going to pick up 1 11/0 seed bead and 2 8/0 seed beads. So here I am. I'm going to skip over this one, and I'm going to go through this one. So right through this 8/0 or 11/0 seed bead, pull it through, and now we have this. And now I'm going to pick up 1/8, and I'm going to fill in this gap right here. And I'm just going to go through that 1 seed bead, not both of them. Okay. Pull the thread tight, and this is what it looks like. So we are kind of zigzagging through the bracelet. We're going to be filling in the sides. So I'm a good distance, and now I'm going to stop and do this side, and I'll go up that way. So I'm going to lay this down and tidy this up. This needle now has to go on this side of my mat. And now I'm going to use this one. I'm just going to do the same thing on this side of the bracelet that I did on this side. And because I'm right-handed, I have to do it with my right hand. So again, I have 4 seed beads here, and that means that I just need 1 more. So I'm going to pick up a bicone and an 11/0 seed bead. And right here I am. I'm going to go through all 4 of these 8/0 seed beads. Okay, on the side. Filling in that hole. Now here I am. And if you look, I already picked up a seed bead, so I don't have to pick up 2 in this gap. I'm only going to pick up 1. So I already have 4 here because I filled in this spot. I have my 4th one. So that means, exiting out of the 8/0s, that I have to pick up 1 11 and 1 4mm bicone. Just this. Okay, so I'm going to go into this 11/0 seed bead through all 4 of these 8s and through this 11 seed bead right here. Okay, so here we go. Now we have 5 seed beads in each corner. So now we're ready to continue on, now that we've checked that and make sure it's right. So here I am at the top, and I don't have to pick up an 11 seed bead because I already have my 5th one right here. So I'm just going to pick up 2 8 seed beads. So here I am, exiting out of this 11, and I have to skip this 11 and go through this one. Fill in that space. I'm going to pick up an 8 and fill in this space. Oops, sorry. Right here. Okay, that's what it looks like. I'm going to pull both of my strings tighter before I go any further. Okay, that looks really good. I don't have any mistakes, so I'm going to continue on. Alright. I'm just going to keep going on my right side. So here I am, exiting out of this 11 seed bead, and I have to pick up 2 8 seed beads and 1 11 seed bead. Okay, so I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go through these 8 seed beads. I'm going to try to go through all 4 again like I did earlier. All 4 at one time. Okay, there we go. I'm going to pull this through. Pull it tight, and this is what it looks like. Okay, I have to get this thread out of the way. Okay, so right here I am. Now I'm going to pick up, there's already 3 seed beads here, so that means I have to pick up 1 11 1 bicone, and 1 11 just like this, and slide it down. So exiting out of here, I have to go through all 4 of these 8s on this side. Right here I am. So through all 4 of these. Oops, just had it. Okay, pull it through. And there I go. I have this space filled in, and I have 5 seed beads right there in an arrow shape, so that's correct. So now I'm up here, and I'm going to pick up, because I only have 3 seed beads, 1 seed bead, 1 bicone, 1 seed bead. Alright? So now I have to go through all 4 of these 8 seed beads. So I'm going to turn it so I can easily go through it. So all 4 of these. Okay? Pull it tight, and there we go. 5 seed beads, 5 seed beads. So my other tail is still over here, and I'll get back to that. I'm just going to add more beads right here before I do. It's easier to do a couple inches with one thread and then go back to the other and do a couple inches with that, because I was doing the same amount on each side with both threads at the same time, and it started getting really confusing. So exiting out of here, I have to pick up 1 seed bead and 2 8 seed beads. Okay, so this is going to be the 4th in this corner. So I'm exiting out of this one, I skip this first seed bead, and I go through the second one. And there I go. Now I have to fill in this gap, so I'm going to pick up 1 8 and go through this seed bead. And I got caught on my bracelet. Okay, pull the thread tight. Now I have to pick up 2 8 seed beads and 1 11. I'm going to slide this down, and right here I am. So now I have to go through all 4 of these 8 seed beads. Okay, pull this through. And here I am. So now I'm going to stop right where I'm at, and I'm going to go back down, and I'm going to do this side. So now that I'm exiting out here, I have to look up here and figure out what I have to pick up. Do I have to pick up 2 8s and an 11-0 or just 2 8s? So counting, I have 5 11-0s here, so that means I only need to pick up 2 8-0 seed beads. It's 2 8s. I'm going to turn this to the side, and I'm going to go through this 11-0, and I always have to go through this 11-0 beside the bicone. And I have to go straight across out this 11-0 that we added earlier. Pull it through. So now I have a thread going in this 11-0, and I have a thread going in of this 11-0, so it's correct. And you have to make sure that your whole bracelet is like that. So see, coming out of this 11-0, picking up the 8s, coming out of this 11, and then that side is the same. So exiting here, I have 4 seed beads, so that means I only have to pick up one 11-0 seed bead. So I'm going to do 1 bicone and 1 11-0 seed bead. Then I have to go through all 4 of these 8-0 seed beads. Now I'm here. So I have to figure out what I have to pick up next. Well, looking up here, I see that I already added a seed bead, so I have 4. So that means I only need 1 11-0 seed bead and 1 bicone. Okay, so now I have to go through this 11-0 seed bead and through all 4 of these 8s and out this 11-0 on this side. And pull it through. Okay, so now I'm exiting here out of this 11-0 seed bead. So that means that I already have 5 here. I don't have to pick one up. So now I'm going to pick up 2 8-0 seed beads. Exiting out of here, I'm skipping 1 and I'm going through this one. Now I have to pick up another 8-0 and fill in this gap. Pick up 2 8-0s, and looking here, I have to figure out what is my next bead that I have to pick up. Do I have to pick up an 11 or just 2 8s? Now I met my other thread here, so I haven't already picked up that 11-0 seed bead, so I have to pick it up now. Okay, and now I'm going to take my needle and go through all 4 of these 8s and through this 11-0 seed bead. So now my needles have met, and pull this tight, and this is what I have. So this is how much I have done right now, and I was going to stop, but I kind of realized that maybe I should explain more of this because I want to make sure that everybody can make this bracelet, especially beginners. So I'm going to show you how to do a little bit more of the filling in because it is kind of confusing. So right now, this is where I left off, and I'm exiting out of these 8-0 seed beads. I need to exit out of this 11-0 seed bead that I added over here. So I'm just going to go through this seed bead. And now I'm exiting out of each 11-0 on each side of my bracelet. Okay, I'm going to pull this thread tight, and I'm going to take one of my needles, and I'm going to start picking up beads again. Now, to me, the confusing things were these seed beads here. I had to keep 5, and sometimes I forgot that I already picked up a bead, and I would pick up another 11, my bicone, and another 11, and then this would start to warp because I picked up an extra seed bead. So I already have these 11-0 seed beads added, and that means that I only have to pick up a bicone and a seed bead. And I'm going to go through all of these 8s. Through all 4 of them. Got through 2, and here is another one. Okay, so I have 3 seed beads here, and that means I have to pick up 2 more. So 1 11, 1 bicone, and 1 11. So exiting out of here, I have to go through the 8s. Now, some mistakes that y'all might have is going through this 11 and then through the 8s, but you don't want to do that because these 11s here are looped in with this 6mm bead. So those 3 have always been there. So it's the newer ones that we want to go through. So I'm adding the 2 here, so now I have a total of 5. I'm going to go through all of these, all 4 of these 8s, and now I am over here. Okay? And be careful that you don't go through this one. Those 3 have to stay in that direction. So I'm exiting out of here, and now I have to pick up 1 11/0 and 2 8/0s. So I have to skip this first bead and go through the second. Now I have to fill this in by putting a C bead here and going through 1 11/0 C bead, pull it tight, and now I'm exiting here and looking up. I only have 3 C beads here, so that means I have to pick up 2 8s, oops, and 1 11. Okay, so exiting out of here, I have to turn this sideways and go through all of these 8/0 C beads. And right now I can't, so I have to go through 3 and then through that 4th one. Okay? Now I'm going to go around this turn. So here I have 11/0 C beads, and I have to pick up, I have 3 11/0s, so I have to pick up 1 11, 1 bicone, and 1 11 to have a total of 5. So now I'm going to go through these 8 C beads here. Okay, pull that through. I need to go through all 4 of these before I can add more. So I'm exiting here. I have 3 here, so I have to pick up 1 11, 1 4mm bead, and 1 11. And now I'm going to go through all 4 of these 8/0 C beads. Okay, so here I'm going to stop and I'm going to go to my other needle, which this one gets more confusing because we kind of added those beads already, and right now we have to pay close attention that we don't pick up extra beads when we don't have to. So see here, I'm only going to pick up 1 bicone and 1 seed bead. When I get to here, I have to make sure that I also don't pick up an extra bead. So right here I am, I have those 4 11/0 C beads, and I have to pick up 1 bicone and 1 11/0 C bead. Now I'm going to go through all 4 of these 8s. There's 3. Here's my 4th one. So right here I have 4 11/0 C beads. There's one right there that I'm going to go into. So I have to pick up 1 11/0 C bead and 1 4mm bead. I'm going to turn this sideways. So I previously added this one, so I have to go into it and then through all of these 4 8/0 C beads and then out the side of this 11/0 C bead. So there is what it looks like. I'm just going to pull this through. Okay, 5 seed beads. There's already 5 seed beads here, so I don't have to pick one up. I just have to pick up 2 8s. So I'm going to skip over this bead, and I'm going to go through this one. I have to fill in 1 seed bead right here. Go through 1 11/0. Now I have to pick up 2 8/0s, and looking here I can see that I don't have to pick up another 11/0 because I already have one here from my other thread. So I'm going to take my needle and go through this 11/0, through all 4 of these 8s, and then through this 11/0. Okay. Pull my needle through, and I'm caught up here. Okay, and right here I am. I just filled this spot in. Pull this tight, and now I have to add, well, first I have to look at what I got. I'm exiting out of this 11-0 seed bead, and I have 4 here, so that means I only have to pick up one 11-0. So I'm going to do a bicone, because I'm exiting out of 11-0, and an 11-0 seed bead. And then I'm going to go through all 4 of these 8-0 seed beads. Okay. Pull it tight. And right up here is my other thread. And I only have 3 11-0 seed beads here, so that means I have to pick up 1 11, 1 4mm, and 1 11. And I'm going to go through this 8-0 seed bead, through these other 3, so through all 4, and then through this one. Pull through, pull it tight. Now you can see this thread is exiting out of the 8, and it has to come out of that 11 every time. So I have to take my other needle and go through that 11. I always have to make sure I pass out through those 11s. Okay, so now both of them are exiting out of the same spot. So pull my thread nice and tight, and this is what my bracelet looks like. So keep going, repeating these steps until you have the entire bracelet filled in, and I'm going to give you 2 important tips. Remember to always have 5 seed beads right here in these corners around the bicone. Okay, so go back and always make sure that there are 5. And another important thing, when you are coming out the beads right here, you always have to come out the 11-0 seed beads before you pick up your 8-0 seed beads and fill in this space. And when you're not coming out in this direction, but you have to go back into it, always make sure that you're always going in to the 11-0 seed beads. So these here, I have 8s on each side, and I'm going into the 11-0, and then I'm going back around. So this one here, going into the 11-0, and it's going back around, and then out the 11-0. So that is 2 very important things that you have to remember to do. So keep going, filling in the sides, and when you get over here, I'll tell you what to do next. I finished filling in the bracelet, and this is what it looks like. And now I'm over here, and I have each thread exiting out of these 11-0 seed beads. So I have to take each needle, I'm going to do one at a time of course, and pick up an 8-0 seed bead and go through these 2 seed beads. I'm going to do the same on this side, pick up my last 8-0, and go through these 2. Well, actually I'll go through 3 of them, because I have to go through all of them anyways. Okay, so I have this one over here, and I'm just going to go to the other needle, and I'm going to position it so we can tie knots. So exiting out of here, I'm going to go through all of these seed beads that I can. So I went through all 6 of them and through my clasp. Okay. And now I'm going to go through this 8-0 and through this 11-0 seed bead. And pull it tight. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this needle. Through these 3 11-0s, these 3, and out through, or through the 8, and then out through this 11. So again, I went through all 6 of those, and I'm coming out through this 11. Then I'm going to tie a knot here and here. But before I do that, I need to pull both of my threads tight and go back and check and look for any mistakes. And once all your bracelet looks good, we're ready to tie knots. I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot right here. So I'm going to take my needle, go through this hole, make a loop, and then go through the loop twice. I'm going to bring this knot down, and I want it to sit right here. Pull my thread, and then I'm going to go through this 8OC bead. And then I'm going to pull the knot into this 8OC bead. I'm going to tie another knot right here. So I'm going to take my needle, go down, make a loop, go through it twice, and sit my knot right here. Now I'm going to go through this 8OC bead, pull my thread. I have to take my needle and I have to go all the way through this 11, these 4 8s, and through this 11, and then through this side, and I could tie more knots over there. So through all of these, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Okay, I got through these ones, pull that tight, and now I have to get through these two. Okay, just like that, through all of them. Now I'm going to tie another knot here. Go through the loop twice and pull the knot down. And then go through these two beads, the bicone and the 11OC beads, and tie more knots. So keep going, tying knots on this side, and try to use up most of your thread. The more thread you use up, the more durable this bracelet's going to be, and the longer it's going to last. And go ahead and do the same exact thing we did with this thread on this side. So you're going to tie 2 knots here around these 8Os, and then you're going to go through this 11, these 4 8s, out this 11, tie a knot, go into the bicone, and then through the 11O and tie more knots here. So keep going, tying your knots, hiding your thread, and making your bracelet stronger. This is it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and like me on Facebook. And don't forget to share pictures of the things you've made from my videos on my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching.